Hey you guys, so today we're going to do a really short video coloring in some of the Buddy Pegs pages. Actually just one page. We're going to be working on the home illustration. This particular assignment posed a little bit of a challenge for me because I have a specific style that I typically sketch in, and Buddy Pegs has already had one particular book that's out of the marketplace, B is for Bicycle. So we didn't stray too far from that particular book. We had to have a stylistic decision to pay homage to that particular book. So even though I've been given a lot of creative license, not only with the illustration work, also with the character design, there still had to be that little bit of a tie back to the old book, which really honors the the previous illustrator and storytelling abilities. I'm working in something called digital watercolor. For those of you who are not really familiar with that, of course, traditional watercolor uses paint, uses gouache, and water, of course, and it's got a real nice fluid wash look to it, and that's what the previous illustrator had used, traditional watercolor. Digital watercolor is all inside the computer, all digitally done in the computer, utilizing a specific program for this task. So sit back, enjoy, and I'm going to try not to talk too much whenever I do the coloring in. But what you're going to see is basically Wrigley and Watson. I've edited out their particular silhouettes in this illustration. They're going to be working on a bicycle, so you're going to see the areas where they're going to be. And you're going to see the broad spectrum of exactly where their house is, and hopefully you guys will enjoy. So sit back and relax. Okay, so I know a lot of you are kind of interested in probably knowing how digital watercolor works. This whole screen right here is pressure sensitive. It's called a Wacom drawing tablet, and this is kind of the industry standard. Mine's a little bit older than others that are out there right now. But what it permits me to do is it permits me to have pressure sensitivity using this particular tool, the stylus. I'm sure that some of you, watching this particular video are really interested in this particular facet. Some are not. But as far as wanting to know the ins and outs of how things are done, I love stuff like this. Getting to know what the professionals use to accomplish the tasks. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm blocking in color onto a textured surface in this program. Now, just for logistic reasons, I'm not going to tell you what type of program it is, because what I've always found out is a lot of times the program is not is what people really are interested in. What program did you use? What program did you use? Well, this particular program, you just search digital watercolor and you'll find it. It's really easy. And plus, we're interested in knowing how things are done. So what I've basically done thus far is I've blocked in the entire sketch, and I've got color on one layer. So at will, I can get rid of my color to kind of see composition, and then I can put the color back in. See that? So we're going to zoom in, and you can see some of the watercolor details. It's quite an interesting process, to say the least. And what I'm doing right now is I'm selecting what color to make these mountains. Now, where Spokesville is sort of nestled in the mountains. There's different types of mountains around the United States, of course, but I like the Great Smoky Mountains, of course. There's different mountains out west, but they all have this nice story behind them. And Spokesville is just a town, just a kind of a sleepy town tucked away in the mountains. And so that's what I'm basically doing right now, is I'm blocking in the mountains and some of the the color. Now, here, we'll go a little bit darker. I love doing landscape painting. And what's really cool about how this particular program works, it emulates watercolor down to the point, here I'm going to zoom in really close so you guys can see. So if I were to take, let's say, a really dark tone, like I'm going to do the tire, if you watch, so there's, it actually bleeds into the paper just like real watercolor. And let's say I made a mistake. I can go back and here, and now it looks real pixelated, but once it gets blending in, see how it blends in? It is such a wonderful thing that I can utilize this program. And I can change the different paper, which is really cool. Because right now, if you look closely, it's a real textured paper, just like watercolor. Whenever I zoom out, and I can select the color that I want. And what's really cool about this too is whenever I go to work on another illustration, I can basically sample the colors to keep all the colors consistent. I love behind the scenes stuff. So now what that's going to do is see how it just seeps into the paper, and it gives me such a nice layering effect of the mountains. And what's really cool too is, since it is watercolor, they've got different brushes that really emulate what watercolor does. So now watch, it's going to blend in, and it goes and it just bleeds right into the paper. It's such a wonderful thing. Technology is great. You can't really rely upon technology to do the art composition for you. But I think that if you find a tool, that you should definitely see how to use that tool in multiple ways. See, and then you can lay the highlights on the top. See that? And give a little bit of warm color here, a little bit of, see that? And then I can just kind of vary how it soaks into the paper. And it gives it such a sense of depth. You know, whenever I place Watson and Wrigley right here to fix it, let me see if I have them. See, this is where I originally had them, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change things up a little bit. So we're going to lower you down just a little bit. Here we go. Hopefully it wasn't that bad when I was doing it. Okay, so, but that's where they are. So we'll get rid of them. Okay, and here is their house, right here. My first thought in doing this particular page, this is what's known as a two-page spread. So it spreads across one page and two page. Some other pieces that I've done for this particular book is a one-page bleed. So you have the one page here, and it bleeds over to the second page, and you'll have your text. But if you look, some of the details, I put doggy doors on a lot of the doors. This whole house has a dog theme to it because it looks like a fire hydrant. And I really tried to kind of inject those little items here and there that I thought would be related to dogs and animals in general. So anyway, this is kind of the process. I'll do a couple more things here before I here, we'll do this. Okay. I'll give a little bit of different look to it. Maybe some yellow. Yeah, maybe some yellow. Maybe this particular go a little bit bigger. And what's really cool about this program is the fact that, you know, the harder I push, or it bleeds into the paper, you know. That's what I like. So we're going to come back. We're going to have this long, I'll bring it over here so you guys can see it a little bit better. And two, whenever I'm doing this, I'm always thinking about 3 dimensions, you know? Even though it's got definitely a stylized look to it, I'm thinking this mountain is round, so it's got a top, it's like this, you know? It's got a roundness to it. See, I got my camera on the right here. Typically, I'm trying to do things, here we go. So I hope you guys enjoy the videos showing the process of creating the Buddy Pegs book. Today we learned a little bit about watercolor and digital watercolor and the process that I've used to create the look of watercolor for the book. Again, here's Watson and Wrigley working on the bike. I'm going to change up their poses a little bit, just because I can. You know, you always want to make sure that you're telling the right story. Here, we'll see. And two, what's really cool about this, I'm going to move this over here. What's really cool about this program is you can work in layers, just like other program suites out there. So if I need to change something, I can, and that's important. If I was doing this traditional watercolor, I'd have to do a lot more planning, and I couldn't go as free form as I'm going right now. But I'm still having a lot of fun, and that's important. You want to have a lot of fun whenever you draw, whenever you do things. Coloring in the mountains, the trees and stuff that are here. And whenever you pull away from it, it goes right into the paper, which is really cool. This process is some of the fun whenever we're doing concept development. I love to sketch, and I'll probably do another sketch session showing you guys some of the, put a little bit, oh, wrong color. See, I made a mistake right there, and watch. And now it's gone. And so I'm gonna go a little bit lighter up here. See that? And it's just gonna blend. It's just gonna go right into the paper. It's just gonna go and soak in. And I can adjust how much water. I can adjust how much pressure that I put into the brush. It's just really cool. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video on coloring in the see, talking to you guys, I'm getting distracted. Coloring in the 2-page spread for the house illustration for the Buddy Pegs book. And this is kind of the overlay here. Support, please support the Kickstarter. This is just a small part This illustration is just a small part of the entire world of Spokesville that is going to be revealed in the up-and-coming book. I mean, it's just going to be fantastic. I'm so excited to be able to share this with you guys. The inside track, you know, it's going to be fantastic. I'm super excited that you guys are going to be part of this. Anyway, here we'll zoom out to let you guys see the midway. I'm kind of about half done. So hopefully you guys enjoy, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks. Bye.